What's up, everybody? I'm Najee Adams.
And I'm Hunter Jacobs.
And you're listening to the Hoopball Nets Podcast. If we sound different, most likely better, it's because we're not recording on Skype anymore. We're just going to record in person like we've been doing and just try and be more consistent. We did have to take another break slightly because Hunter got his wisdom teeth out, so he couldn't really talk for a good little while. But now we're back. We're good. Ready to talk about the All-Star break and the Nets' last two games. But before we get into all that, make sure you guys follow us on Twitter at HoopballNets, and make sure you subscribe to us on iTunes. You can look up Brooklyn Nets. We're one of the first podcasts that comes up. Make sure you leave a 5-star rating and review. All reviews are getting read on the podcast. Speaking of reviews, we have a new one. One of my most favorite reviews that we've gotten. It's by RC974, and it says, "I find this podcast to be quite comprehensive. It summarizes and discusses the implications of the prior few games. The listener is given clear insight into the state of the Nets. The hosts are very candid about perceived areas of improvement for the team. This is refreshing and helps temper my expectations for the season. I had been browsing other Nets podcasts for some time. Once I found this one, I stopped looking. These guys are great." Thank you so much, RC974. Yeah, like I said, that's one of my favorite reviews, just because we've never had anyone say that once they found this podcast, they stopped looking for other Nets podcasts. So it's super special to me, and I'm sure it means a lot to Hunter too. But yes, we appreciate it. Make sure you guys go leave a rating and review, and yeah, it can get right on the podcast. But we're going to get into the Nets All-Star break festivities. So the Nets had 4 players competing in all of the All-Star events. Rodion Kruk and Jared Allen was in the USA vs. World game. Joe Harris was in the three-point competition. And, of course, D'Lo was in the All-Star game. So we can just start with Rodion's and Jared Allen. So if you guys don't know, Team USA beat Team World 161-144. Rodion's was on Team World. Jared Allen was on Team USA. Rodion's finished with 10 points in 15 minutes, 4 of 9 shooting, 2 of 6 from the three-point line, 4 rebounds, 5 assists. Nothing crazy. Honestly, if I had to give him a grade, I'd give him a B. It wasn't an outstanding game, but it was
better than a second-round pick.
Exactly.
Solid.
It was a Team USA versus Team World. I always just want to call it the Rising Stars game.
It is the Rising
Stars game. I'm just going to call it the Rising Stars game. It was a Rising Stars game performance. There's nothing, he had no expectations. It was great. And to Jared Allen,
it was expected that Kuzma, Tatum, Mitchell, Simmons
Trae Young
would dominate the game. They're the best players in the game. So the only shocking bad performances were not even bad. Subpar were really Luka Doncic and John Collins. You would have expected them to go off, but both of them were just average.
Jared Allen, 14 minutes.
Oh, and De'Aaron Fox. He had 16 assists and 5 steals, but he did not score at all. He only had 2 points.
Yeah, I don't think he was trying to score, but honestly, the 16 assists is kind of sick. He had a plus 20.
John Wall had a near 2020.
Yeah.
Not 2020 when he played.
Marvin Bagley was kind of eating. At the end of the game, it was basically just a dunk contest, and they were all shanking them. And then Marvin Bagley came down and did a 360. But Jared Allen, 14 minutes. 2 points, 0 of 2 from the field, 0 of 1 from the three-point line. Both of his points came off of free throws, and then 5 rebounds and 2 blocks.
He was the worst player on the squad and played the least minutes. That's the bottom line.
I just want to say, if I had to give him a grade, I'd probably give him a D.
I would give him an F.
I want to say that this isn't the type of game for him. This isn't his type. This isn't his environment.
Put it this way. Because he likes to play serious, and he doesn't have a flashy game. No one wants to block in this game.
Yeah, exactly.
He's meant for shot blocking.
Exactly.
So he led the team in blocks with 2 blocks in his team low 14 minutes because he was playing serious, but he's not flashy enough to get the ball and do windmills like everyone else wants to do.
Exactly. And I also feel in a game where his number one the draw to Jared Allen is his blocking capabilities, and you don't want to look like you're the only one try harding. So you're not gonna just be out here sending everyone's layups in the paint. So I don't. That's why I feel like it's not his type of game. Like if he would have been out there contesting every wide open layup, he would look like someone trying way too hard. So I just feel like he just let the game come to him. Got his 2 free throws. Got his 2 blocks. He did pin Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons tried to bang it on him. Yes. And he sent his shot, and then Josh Okogie, he sent one of his shots. But that was about it for Jared Allen.
Unfortunately, he had a team low -8. But between the two of them, Rodions Kurucs showed out for the Nets, so it was good.
The Nets had a good All-Star break, to be honest, especially with the person we're about to talk about now. So on to Joe Harris and the three-point competition. It was...
Just saying, I called the exact final.
Okay, wait. So we have a group chat with our friends and everything, just like most of you probably do. And we all said like 3 people we want or that we think are going to win. Hunter, who are your 3?
I said the 3 finalists would be Steph Curry, Joe Harris, and Seth Curry, but I said it would be between Joe Harris and Steph for who would win.
I think I said Buddy Hield was going to win. But
yeah, you said Buddy Hield and Steph. You did not give my man's Joe Harris any love.
I said Buddy Hield and Steph. To be honest, I got 2 of the 3 finalists.
So did I, but I called Joe Harris, and I said he could probably win it. So,
but no, Joe Harris showed out. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Joe Harris went first, and he just came out the gates gunning. First person to go, he came out with 26, set the bar high.
25.
He came out with 25, set the bar high. Buddy Hield got 26, Steph got 27, so Joe Harris barely made it into the next round.
Somebody having 25 to start puts a lot of pressure on the rest of the field because the next highest behind him was Danny Green, had 23. So he made it by a money ball, but... yeah, he set the bar high. It would have been tough to beat, and only people like Steph and Buddy Hield could do that.
And I feel like they tried to play Joe Harris and put him first because nobody really knew who he is. And the thing is, like, it was in Charlotte. Steph and Seth are from Charlotte. The whole precursor to the 3-point contest was some skills challenge with Dell and Ray Allen, which was horrible. I always hate when they do that stuff before all the challenges.
Like when it was Kevin Hart versus Draymond Green.
That, and like the Papa shot with Quavo and like no one cares about that. But I feel like everyone.
I used to like the shooting stars they did. When
I did too. I did too. I feel like everybody wanted Seth or Steph to win. So when Seth got knocked out in the first round,
they wanted Seth versus Steph in the finals.
Yes, they did. They easily did.
Ideal situation. The 2 brothers going at it. Who's the best shooter in the family? Like who's the best shooter in Golden State in 2016?
Literally, that's what they wanted. But Seth got knocked out first round, and then in the finals, Buddy Hield 19, Steph Curry 24, Joe Harris 26. It was looking slow. It was looking slow for Joe Harris, but he hit every single ball on the money rack, which was his last rack. And he just ended up smoking Steph Curry 26-24. And honestly, I feel like that was a big win for Brooklyn. Because, like, going into it, Joe Harris was probably the person that was least known, easily. Because you got Chris Middleton, Dirk. Everyone knows Dirk. Kemba, it's in Charlotte. Everyone, I had a voice crack. Everyone knows Dirk. It was in Charlotte. Chris Middleton. I feel like people know Chris Middleton more than they know Joe Harris. Everyone knows Dame.
But was Joe Harris the worst player on the list?
The worst player on the list is Seth Curry.
Yes, that's true. And present day Dirk Nowitzki.
Oh yeah, Dirk is kind of trash, but yeah, I just feel like it was good for Brooklyn because nobody really expected Joe Harris to win outside of Brooklyn fans.
But I'm not a Brooklyn fan. I call Joe
Okay,
Harris
but you do a Brooklyn Nets podcast. Of course you know Joe Harris is nice.
That's true. He's all reliable.
Exactly, all reliable. Brought home the 2019 3-point contest. And he'll probably be in it next year. Definitely.
Yeah, he's going to defend his title.
He's definitely going to be in it next year. The skills challenge, unfortunately, the Nets didn't have anyone in the skills challenge.
Dinwiddie challenged Tatum, so he's about to be in it next year.
Dinwiddie was commentating the skills challenge since he won it last year, but since his thumb is messed up right now, he just commentated it, and he challenged Jason Tatum to the W. I don't know if Spencer Dinwiddie can win if people are taking full court, half court shots, but we'll see.
Trae Young's definitely going to be in it again.
He said he wants to win it. He said he's going to win it next year. And I honestly believe it because he was mad. He was sick. The way he
Tatum hit a half-court shot.
and it was going in. Trae Young's shot was going in.
Yes.
And the way he was dribbling up the court, he would just bounce it and run to it. That was sick. But on to the All-Star game, the most popular event of the week. We had LeBron James versus Giannis Antetokounmpo. Both of their teams. Team LeBron won 178-164. D'Lo was drafted to Team Giannis. So it wasn't looking good in the first three quarters, because D'Lo was the last person in the game to score. He was the last All-Star in the game to score at all. But thankfully, he didn't have the least amount of points.
He outplayed Kyle Lowry.
Definitely.
He outplayed Kemba Walker.
Kemba was trash.
And he didn't outplay Nick Vucevic, but they both only played 12 minutes.
Yeah, D'Lo and Nick Vucevic
had similar games.
Yeah, and it was just good for D'Lo to be there. I'm not gonna lie, if I had to give him a grade, I'd probably give him a B+, because he did seem timid. He seemed like he was just gonna let all the other all-stars rock and do what they want to do. He pulled up for a shot deep from the hash, but that was about the only crazy thing he did. He had a couple good passes, one to Dirk before they called the timeout, and then one to Steph for the 4-point play on Clay.
I just would like to say, for everyone who is ragging on Steph Curry for shooting 6 of 23 for 17 points, him and Chris Middleton are the only ones with a positive plus-minus on the team. So
I honestly want to say, if Mike Budenholzer wasn't coaching this team, D'Lo would have played more minutes, because he was playing Chris Middleton an outrageous amount of minutes. There's no why does Chris Middleton play 21 minutes, but Russell Westbrook plays 19, Vucevic plays 11, Kyle Lowry 12, Kemba only plays 20.
And it was in Kemba's hometown.
Exactly.
Hometown. That's not right.
Mike Budenholzer was clearly being biased towards his players, but it's whatever. D'Lo still came out with 6 points on 2 of 5 shooting. Every shot he attempted was a 3, and then 3 assists and 1 turnover. But
sure, when Steve Kerr was the coach, he played his 4 at the same time with one All-Star, so he could gauge how it would be if they got a 5th All-Star like they did right now. But that's fair, because he never played Draymond Green overly, the amount he should. He never played him above 20 minutes. Playing D'Lo and Lowry 12 minutes and playing Middleton 21, it just doesn't make sense.
There's no way that you can't justify that other than the fact that Mike Budenholzer was the coach. But other than that, I think it was a pretty good All-Star game. KD won MVP. That was the most quiet 31 that I've ever seen from KD. I didn't even know he had 31 at the end of the game.
KD's meant for the All-Star game.
Yeah,
because he makes every shot he takes.
He
as
literally
far as
takes.
I'm concerned.
He's a monster in the All-Star game. Team LeBron was losing, and then Dame went crazy.
Look, but Dame saved them, but LeBron drafted his team for the clutch. Giannis drafted his team for the whole start of the game. Once it came down to a clutch and you have Kyrie and KD in the game, it's over.
Yeah, it's over. It's literally, there's nothing they can do. But yeah, that was the All-Star game. We think the Nets had a pretty good All-Star weekend. We had Joe Harris winning the 3-point competition. We had Jared Allen and Rodion Karuk showcasing their skills in the Rising Stars game, and then we had D'Lo in the All-Star game.
I'm just still amazed that Jared Dudley got snubbed from this game.
I thought you were gonna say Jared Allen. That's crazy. I don't even want to rag on Jared Dudley no more, because he be doing his thing on Twitter. I kind of like Jared Dudley on Twitter.
He's a good personality.
He's lit on Twitter.
Guy.
But when we get into the game, that's a different story.
He hasn't been playing, so it's okay.
It's okay. That's what I'm saying.
He's living.
I could honestly see Jared Dudley being a commentator when he retires.
He knows the game well.
Yeah.
I just don't want to see him on the court.
No need to be on the court. And that's no shade to Jared Dudley. I messaged you on Twitter. It's just, you trash. There's nothing more for me to say. He's a bad basketball player right now. I don't think anyone can disagree. But then the All-Star break ended, and the Nets played the Portland Trailblazers' first game back from the All-Star break.
Look, the Blazers are quietly a very good contender to win the West. Now that they have Enes Kanter off the bench, they're a team to mess with, because their bench center is now not Zach Collins and not Myers Leonard. It's Enes Kanter. So they have someone to score and offensive rebound. In his first game, he had 18 points and was third on the team in scoring, almost double-doubled, and he carried the bench.
Say what you want about Enes Kanter, but having him as your bench center is kind of crazy because he'd be the starter on a ton of NBA teams.
That's why I wanted the Celtics to get him, because they can play him over
Hey,
Aaron
I would have
Baines.
been happy if the Lakers got him.
Aaron
But
Baines. He would have been your starter.
yeah, he would have easily been our starter.
He's better than JaVale McGee by a long mile.
Easily. But yes, the Nets lost 99 to 113 to the Trailblazers. It was a rough game for the Nets. They actually won the turnover battle 12 to 13. But they got
That
out-rebounded.
wasn't the issue. They
Yeah.
couldn't hit a three to save their life. Neither could the Blazers, really. But
Yeah, but the Nets rely more so on threes than a lot of teams in the NBA. So when they're not hitting, it really shows. The Nets got out-rebounded 60 to 49. They
and
got
offensive rebounded 19 to 12.
That was a big problem last year. Hopefully it does not continue. I don't believe it will continue. The Nets are pretty good at offensive rebounding this year thanks to Ed Davis and Jared Allen's improvement. And then, yeah, like we said, the Nets shot 19.4% from the three-point line. They were 7 of 36. And they shot 39.1% from the field. They were 36 of 92. While the Blazers shot 43.8%. They were 46 for 105. Moving on to the box score. It was really nothing crazy. Like, they did get lit up by Jusuf Nurkic, but they did a good job on Dame.
Yusuf Nurkic is actually having a quiet, amazing year.
Did you see what Ben Simmons said to him?
Yeah.
We
Did you
can't
see what he
repeat
said
it.
to Ben Simmons?
No, what did he say to Ben Simmons?
He basically told Ben Simmons that he's a better shooter than him.
He definitely is. They're not average. Like, their averages aren't that far apart. Jusuf Nurkic averages like one less point, like one less assist, like more rebounds. It's not nothing.
And neither of them can hit a three. Did you see Ben Simmons willingly take a three the other day and he missed?
He's definitely taking like 3 threes this season. He definitely hasn't hit one. Joel Embiid was like, I think he should start taking them more.
Yeah, no, they're all saying that he should shoot more. And as a Celtics fan, please do. We'll sit there in the paint and grab the boards all night long because he's gonna miss them. He can't shoot.
I think he should have took more in the All-Star game. Like, if you're gonna shoot them in any game, you might as well just chuck up a 3 in the All-Star game. I don't think he attempted one. When they were playing the Wakers, when they were playing the Lakers, the way LeBron guarded him was literally standing in the paint and giving him miles of green space at the 3-point line. He took 1 3, shanked it, never took another one. But back to the Trailblazers game. Like we said, Jusuf Nurkic, 28 minutes, 27 points, 10 of 15 from the field, 12 rebounds, 5 turnovers, 3 blocks. CJ McCollum, 21 on 9 of 19 shooting. He was 1 of 6 from the 3-point line. He had 6 rebounds and 5 assists. And then we did a good job on Dame. He in 36 minutes, which was a team high on the Blazers. He only had 13 points on 5 of 21 shooting. He was 2 of 9 from the 3-point line. He did have 8 assists and 8 rebounds and only 1 turnover. So he got involved in other ways outside of scoring. But it's good to see them actually lock up the Blazers' by far best player. And then Enes Kanter, 19 minutes, 18 points. Hunter already ran down his stats. The problem this game was definitely our interior defense. Jusuf Nurkic and Enes Kanter had 27 and 18. There's no way that can happen. They also had 12 rebounds and 9 rebounds. That is just a testament to how bad the Nets' bigs are on defense. Jared Allen, on the other hand, had 12 points on 4 of 7 shooting, 11 rebounds. He had 12 and 11 with 0 blocks. So we honestly need to do a better job in the paint guarding big men. But with Jared Allen's really our only center. Like, when you look at our roster, who else can match up with a big man like Enes Kanter and Jusuf Nurkic in the post?
Ed Davis.
And that's literally about it. And he had 0 blocks too. And he doesn't play enough minutes to actually make a difference.
Then it makes you think, why didn't the Nets go for Enes Kanter?
I don't know why they didn't. Or even someone like Markieff Morris. I could have seen them taking Markieff Morris.
Didn't I say that? I said I wanted them to get Markieff Morris.
Markieff Morris would have been good.
Because you have Trevion Graham starting at power forward. So why not have Markieff Morris? I don't understand. Does not make sense.
Doesn't make sense at all. Joe Harris, all reliable, coming off his 3-point contest win, was 0 for 3 from 3. 13 points in 28 minutes, 5 of 10 from the field, 4 rebounds. Trevion Graham was 0 of 4 in 16 minutes. Karis LeVert, 4 of 11 from the field, 12 points in 20 minutes, still working his way back from injury. And D'Lo was a minus 30. He had 28 minutes, 14 points on 4 of 16 shooting, 2 of 9 from the 3-point line, 4 of 6 from the free throw line. 4 rebounds, 8 assists, and only 1 turnover, so that's good. He got involved in other ways, but the 4 of 16 from the field is obviously not good. And then Allen Crabbe was the team's leading scorer, 17 points on 7 of 13 shooting, knocked down 3 triples. I just want to continue to keep saying Ed Davis, the one of the most stellar pickups of the offseason by the Nets. 23 minutes, 15 points, 10 rebounds. The man is a monster on the boards. He had 3 offensive rebounds, 7 defensive rebounds in only 23 minutes. That's insane. This wasn't the Nets' greatest game, but I honestly just want to chalk it up to them being a little lackadaisical coming off the break after having such a good break. I think they just came out sluggish, and the Trailblazers ended up making them pay. But now we have the Charlotte Hornets game.
D'Lo did have a bad game, first game back, but he shook it off for this one.
For his birthday.
40 points. We'll get to him later, though. My favorite performance of the night was Joe Harris. 19 points on 5 of 7 shooting. He only had 7 shots to get 19 points. With 2 rebounds, 4 assists, a steal, and a block. And a team high plus-minus plus 14. Joe Harris played an amazing game.
Yeah, he did. He was 6 of 6 from the free throw line as well. Trevion Graham, nothing really to talk about. Jared Allen, 31 minutes, which is more than he usually gets. 11 points, 11 rebounds, 4 of 8 from the field.
Karis LeVert has played so ugly since he came back. I hope he goes back to his early season form. But right now it's looking like what happened when D'Lo got hurt last year, which is not good. Not good.
Karis, this is the most minutes he played since he returned. 6 points, 2 of 8 from the field, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, and a steal and a block. That one block was super important. We'll get to that later. My bad.
Allen Crabbe only had 3 points on 1 of 6 shooting. It's his first bad game in a while. He's been playing really well. And aside from that, no one on the bench really played all that well. It was a lot of D'Angelo Russell and Joe Harris, but mainly D'Lo.
On to the Hornets box score. Really, it was just Kemba and Tony Parker. Tony
Parker has occasional games where he just balls out, and I knew he would be the type of player to light up the Nets. Something like that always happens, Patty Mills, DJ Augustine. Like, when they play the Clippers, I bet you Garrett Temple pulls up with 40. Like, it's ridiculous players like that the Nets give up points to.
So, yeah, 65-year-old Tony Parker, 29 minutes, 21 points on 10 of 16 from the field.
With 5 rebounds and 5 assists.
Exactly.
Led the team in assists.
And then no one else really showed out except for Kemba. Kemba, 40 minutes, 32 points on 12 of 28 from the field. He only had 3 assists. He didn't really do much else outside of score. He took 15 threes, made 6 of them. And that's really all for the box score. When it comes to the turnovers, both teams had 12 turnovers. The Nets got out-rebounded by 1, but the total rebounds were tied at 42. The Nets shot 34.3%. No, the Nets shot 39.5% from the three-point line, knocking down 17 of 43 attempts. Shot 46% from the field, while the Hornets shot 55.3% from the field. And this game really came down to the wire. They were getting clapped going into the fourth, and then D'Lo just exploded. The kid it was his 23rd birthday. He matched his career high with 40 points. Scored the Nets' last 12 points of the game,
including a shot where he lost the ball and it went in the basket.
That's how you know you're having a crazy night.
He went up with 2 hands, thought he got fouled, so started flailing his arms, lost the ball, and it went in the basket. Amazing shot, an amazing game.
And at the end of the game, honestly, I just want to talk about D'Lo real quick. I love when he gets like that, and that's the type of thing that all-stars do. Like, that's the type of thing that differentiates just regular low-level players from, or regular mid-tier average NBA players from all-stars.
And Miles Bridges even said on Instagram after the game that he learned his lesson. D'Angelo Russell's an all-star, and that's why.
Do you know why he said that? Because he was mocking the ice in the veins thing.
Yes.
He mocked it. D'Lo killed them. Tristan Thompson mocked it, and D'Lo killed them. Clearly, whenever you mock the ice in my veins celebration, D'Lo takes offense and starts bodying your team.
The ability for him to perform like this is the reason that no one wants to see them in the playoffs. Because all it takes is for him to get hot, and it's game over. And I mean, sure, other teams can do the same thing. But if they wind up playing the Pacers in the playoffs, who on the Pacers right now is doing that? Because they don't have Oladipo this season.
Then right now the Nets are the 6th seed, 31
They
and
would
30.
play the Pacers, and they would beat the Pacers.
They would easily clap the Pacers.
They would
easily
beat the Pacers if it winds up being the Sixers. I'm sorry, that's not happening.
Yeah.
But if they play the Pacers, that's the best case scenario.
Honestly, best case scenario is Pacers.
Because they play the Sixers, they have 4 players who can do what D'Lo can do. If they play the Celtics, Kyrie Irving can match him and top him.
Okay.
But the Pacers don't have anyone to do that. So it would be good to see them match up.
And we just want to talk about the last play of the game. Super controversial. So Karis LeVert basically blocked Kemba with his elbow.
He
and
brought the elbow down on the ball.
And all the Hornets fans are like, no, that's a foul. That's a foul.
It came out that it was not a foul because he actually just elbowed the ball.
And they actually said that Kemba traveled before he even attempted the shot. So
yes, if you watch, Kemba took a dribble and took 3 steps before taking his next dribble, therefore a travel.
Exactly. So I don't want to hear it from Hornets fans. You're lucky that you were even that close and you even had the shot to begin with. So the Nets ended up winning that game by 2.
NBA refs have been horrible this season. Did you see what happened with the Bucks Celtics game?
What was it? It was like 5 missed calls.
They messed up 5 calls in 3.7 seconds. The Celtics' last inbounds play. 2 of the fouls were against the Bucks. It was 3 calls against the Celtics that they missed: an illegal screen, a travel, and out of bounds. And Kyrie got fouled by 2 different people in 3 seconds, and they missed all 5 of those calls.
I honestly don't know what they're going to do about officiating, though. It was talked about that they might add a 4th official to the floor, but then that's
not going to do anything.
That's not going to do anything.
Another set of eyes that does not see the right thing. So
especially you're not, and it's going to be an inexperienced ref. They're going to hire new refs. They're not going to take refs off of other games, so it's just going to be a new ref that doesn't know what he or she is doing anyway. So yes, we also just want to touch on the fact that the NBA's basically submitted the proposal to move the drafting age down to 18. So that would basically mean, it came after Zion Williamson basically tore through his shoe, and everyone was fearing a torn ACL or anything. It's just a knee sprain. He's day-to-day right now. But the conversation is, should he go back to college? Should he play another game and possibly risk re-injuring himself? So the NBA decided to put out the proposal to have players enter the league at 18, and it's supposed to take place in the 2022 draft. So we got a couple years until then, but honestly, my opinions on it, I think it's perfectly fine. I don't think players should be forced to go to college anyway. If they're ready to come into the NBA and ball, then sure, they can go ahead and do it.
I agree, but also those players have to realize you can turn out like Austin Rivers. You can turn out like Anthony Simons. If you're not ready, you're not ready, and they have to weigh that, because Austin Rivers thought he would be one and done, go top 10, and automatically be the best player on the Hornets next to Anthony Davis. And now he's a backup. Anthony Simons did not even see the court, and he was supposed to be this young prodigy for basketball. So if Zion never goes to Duke and goes straight to the league,
he wouldn't be the first pick. Say he would have went last year, he wouldn't have been the first pick. No shot.
Would he be compared to LeBron?
He was being compared to LeBron, but he definitely wouldn't be this hyped.
But at 18, would people expect him to come in as a starter and be compared to LeBron? And he might be put in a situation where he's not a starter for a couple of years, which could be bad for him. As the number 1 pick, you're going to start right away, and you're expected to be like LeBron.
Or KD. Or he was number 2, but still. Or AD. There you go.
But
Kyrie.
that level talent. And if he just goes at 18 and never goes to school, that opens up the door for other people who are staying at school, like R.J. Barrett, who would have gone to Duke this year probably anyway, or Cam Reddish definitely would have gone to school. He would have ran Duke by himself.
And what a lot of people don't take into account is the fact that players do, Zion's being touted as the best prospect since AD, the best number 1 prospect since AD. Some people are saying he's better than AD, which would mean he's the best number 1 prospect since Greg Oden and KD and all of them. But what you have to take into account is a lot of one and done players value that year they spent in college. A lot of one and done players like that college experience that they receive. We're in college right now, and the college experience is essential to a lot of young people. So players that go one and done, they appreciate that college experience. Like I remember DeMarcus Cousins, that he appreciated his time. Melo loves his time at Syracuse. KD in Texas, he gave like $5 million to them. A lot of players don't want to miss out on that, but also then a lot of high school players just think of like, oh, I don't want to go to school. I don't want to do work. So I'm just going to go to the NBA. But you also miss out on a valuable year of development and also an experience that you can't really recreate. So I honestly think it's just going to be a lot of thought is going to have to go into it. It's not like every nice college prospect isn't going to come out.
It's the mentality. The people who underthink it and say, oh, I could just go to the league are going to be bad. They're going to be bad and they're going to ruin their careers. There's going to be missed talent. This might actually change the path that they're on right now of the overflow of talent, seeing a lot of good prospects end up on deep benches, not seeing a lot of minutes, like a Robert Williams on the Celtics or like McKinney on the Warriors. He sees some minutes, but players like that who are on the end of benches, if players start leaving in high school, it could change that route because some drafts may be way more loaded than other drafts. Because there's a lot of high school classes that are weak. And there's some that are like Zion and RJ Barrett. So it all depends on the class before.
So before we get out of here, we just want to talk about the Nets' upcoming schedule because they're going to have some tough games that they're going to have to win. So we looked at the schedule and
they have 21 games left. 14 of them are against playoff teams. 16 of them are against teams that are no lower than the 10th seed, and the 17th is the Wizards, who are the 11th seed. So they play 4 games against bad teams.
Yeah, literally 4 games against bad teams. Those teams are the Hawks, the Mavericks, the Cavs, and the Hawks, the Mavericks, and the Cavs. Yeah, the Hawks, the Mavericks, and the Cavs, and the Spurs, I guess. But
nah, the Wizards were the other team. So 18 games against playoff makeable teams.
The only horrible teams they play are the Hawks, the Mavericks, and the Cavs.
And the Mavericks aren't even horrible when they're at full strength.
Exactly. And the Cavs are getting Kevin Love back.
The Cavs and Hawks,
they got some fight.
So really there's no gimme games until the end of the season. And the Magic are on a tear and have an easy schedule and they're out of the playoffs right now. So unless the Nets start winning some meaningful games, those 3 games they're apart from the Magic turn to 0 games, and they're looking at fighting for the 8th seed again.
Exactly. So the Nets are the 6th seed right now. There's no way they catch up to the Celtics unless they just go on a monstrous losing streak. The Nets are 1.5 games above the 7th seed Pistons, and so basically, and 2 games ahead of the Hornets, the 8th seeded Hornets, so which makes them 3 games ahead of the Magic,
and 3.5 ahead of the Heat, and then the drop off is to the Wizards, which is 6.5. They're the only team that can really still make it if they go on a run.
The Magic and the Heat can very easily make it into the playoffs, and those are 2 teams that are kind of on a run. The Magic are on they've won 4 of their last 5 games,
and they're 8-2 in their last 10.
Exactly. So the Magic are destroying teams,
and
right
the
now.
Pistons are 7-3 in their last 10.
Exactly. And the Nets are 4-6 in their last 10, and they're gonna have to basically. Let me just name a couple of the Nets' schedule end of season. So yeah, they play the Cavs and the Hawks back to back.
Wait. Their run consecutively goes Blazers, Sixers, Celtics, Bucks, Raptors, Bucks, Pacers.
That back to back. We didn't skip any games.
Those are all top 3 seeds in their conference.
Those are all back, and those games are all right next to each other. They don't get a break from March 25th to April 7th. They don't get a break.
Their only hope is that the Bucks clinched home field by then. Or home court.
They play the Bucks twice.
If the Bucks clinched home court by then, that's their only hope, because then they really don't have much to play for anymore.
They play the Bucks twice. Right now, the Bucks are on a 4-game win streak. They're 20-9 on the road, 9-1 in their last 10,
and have the best record in the NBA.
Like those could easily be 2 losses that could knock them out of the playoffs, depending on how the Magic, the Heat, and the Hornets and the Pistons are doing.
And it's not like before that they don't play the Jazz, Clippers, Kings, and Lakers, too.
Exactly, which could also be losses. The Thunder right before that. They have a tough tough schedule.
And they play the Heat twice and the Pistons that mean a lot for the playoffs.
So basically, all we're saying is the Nets are going to have to boss up and win the majority of these upcoming games, or at least split. Go
it
half.
looks like they're making the playoffs, but if you really look into it, there's a good chance they don't. So they're going to have to win some games.
Some critical games.
That mean something. They're going to have to be clutch, bottom line.
So yeah, going into this last part of the season, we're going to see what the Nets are really made of, and hopefully they can clinch a playoff spot and make it into the playoffs so we can cover the playoffs. We're definitely going to go to, if the Nets make the playoffs, we're definitely going to a game. But with all that being said, thank you guys for listening. Make sure you go subscribe to us on iTunes. You can look up Brooklyn Nets. We'll come up. Make sure you go follow us on Twitter at HoopBallNets. You can follow your host. I'm Najee. On Twitter, I'm at NajeeAdams_. If you don't know how to spell Najee, it's Najee Adams_. Hunter's at Hunter_JKR on Twitter. And yeah, make sure you leave a rating and review on iTunes. All ratings and reviews are getting read on the podcast. And hope you guys had a good day. We'll see you all next time.